So let's dive into the tax return 2025 and how it's working and what you have to know about the tax return. We will go through some lines of the tax return of 2025 because some of these information are very useful for you. Today, welcome back to another video here on GTax. My name is Roland Elias. I'm a German tax advisor and I'm in the business more than 20 years. So let's dive into the tax return for 2025. We will start at the first page, and this is the so-called personal information section. This is very important. We talked in other videos about the information you need. You need your address details, your tax ID, your marshal status, your church tax and bank account. These are the standard informations you need to provide to do your full tax return. For example, your address details are the information where you live. The next point is the tax ID. If you're registered in Germany as a employee, then you will find it on your Lohnsteuermeldung or your salary payslip. So there are all the informations you need. Then we have to dive into some other parts. These, I would say, everyone can file this out on Ulster, but the more important parts are the income sections. We have 7 different income sections in Germany. For examples, for farmers, this is one of them, for business owners, for self-employed, for employees, for capital gains, for property rental, and for others. For example, you're selling a property and then you have to do it into the others. So we have, but the most commons are employment income. This is, you have to do your gross income, then deduct your Werbungskosten. These are the expenses you have, and then you get your, for example, return on taxes. The freelance income and the business income, these are separate because we have on one side we have the business owners, for example, if you're in trade, for example, and then we have the self-employed, the freelancers. These are, for example, consultants in cases of economic and other parts where you can say, okay, you're like a academic background. In these kinds of businesses, for example, business and self-employed, it's like this, that you have your profit and loss sheet. You have to do a profit and loss, and then you have to take the profit or the loss and copy it, for example, easy way, into the so-called annexes. Then we have annex for example, the L for farmers, then we have the G for business owners, and we have the S for self-employed and freelancers. These we will go into in some other parts of these series we're about to do, but you have to know the whole complaint system that you can, for example, file it yourself. For example, what are the deductions? There we dive into so-called Werbungskosten. These are the deductions you can do as, for example, an employer, for example, for driving to work, for example, also for insurance and other things. These are the so-called Sonderausgaben and other extraordinary expenses, which are, for example, then if you're sick or something like this. Then there are also child-related deductions. These are very important parts because there you have, for example, you have a nanny or something like this, then you can deduct parts of it from the taxes. And the last part is then it's the taxable income. This is, for example, a part where you say, okay, we add up all the incomes. For example, you have rental income, you have employment income, you have self-employed income, for example, as a freelancer or something like this. And then we add them all up. And if we added them all up, then we have the so-called taxable income. Then we go there into a so-called table. It's a tax table where you can look, okay, I have to pay this kind of taxes with this income. And then you can say, and then you have to pay it, and then you get your, for example, your all information. So if you have further questions about this, then just go in the comment section below. just ask a question, or in the info box, there you can see all the links to my business, and we can help you to deduct your taxes and, for example, to do a proper tax return in Germany for you.